What's up guys, Tim Little. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin. Today I have another electronics video for you. Fish finders, electronics these days are phenomenal and a lot of people don't know how to use them to their full potential. Today we're going to do side imaging. I'm going to show you some tips and some tricks to really dial in your units to get them reading crystal clear, to help you find those spot-on-spot areas and help you find more fish. Today we're going to cover side imaging. We're going to cover the different frequencies, the 455 kilohertz, 800 kilohertz, and the new megahertz, mega imaging. I'm going to show you guys how to flip between each of the three and how to adjust your sensitivity and contrast to really get those clear pictures. So right off the bat, let's talk about frequencies. These are Humminbird units. They are the first and only unit to expand into the megahertz category, mega imaging. So what that means, most electronics have a 455 kilohertz, and an 800 kilohertz. Now what that means, the more kilohertz, the more detail. So if you're on a unit that you don't have the mega imaging, we'll get into that in just a second, you have your 455 and your 800. Now when do I use which ones? So let me switch over to 455. If I am searching a vast area, I am side imaging a vast area, I want to cover the most width on each pass, and I have depth of 20 to 25 foot at least or deeper, I am gonna use the 455. To me, the 455 is easier and more powerful to scan a broader location. So right here, let me put this unit on standby so you don't get confused with this. So over here, 455, right now I am scanning 100 feet to the left and the right, but watch this. I just turned that up to 250 feet out the right side and 250 feet out the left side. So now I am scanning 500 feet to the left and right of my boat to look for structure. Now this isn't gonna pinpoint fish or anything like that for me because I'm fitting 500 feet of stuff on a 15-inch screen. So you're not gonna see really small fish or things like that, but I'm gonna teach you how to dial that in just a second. So right now, I am scanning 500 feet. You can see out here, I got kind of a dark line. Picture your transducer as a spotlight, as a flashlight. That is where your depth is getting deeper and it's not hitting the bottom. It's not getting a reflection. So I'm actually gonna turn this down a little bit. We'll do 190 feet. So now I'm utilizing the full screen. I am scanning all of this looking for rock piles, stick ups, lay downs, hard bottom. You know, in previous videos we've covered what stuff looks like on side imaging, but a quick little refresher, like these white lines right out here, those are fish on bottom. You're getting a reflection off of that flashlight, that spotlight that's shooting out. You're getting a readout, and those white lines over here are fish. Hard bottom is going to be brighter than like say a mud or sandy bottom. You're going to get a darker readout for that. But I use 455 when I am in search mode. I am in an area that I don't know, that I'm not familiar with. I haven't really picked it apart, and I am just scanning. Now, let's say I found a rock pile over here that showed up. I would waypoint it, circle around. Now I'm gonna change my frequency to a more detailed frequency, the 800. For those of you guys that like to fish shallow, I would typically keep my transducer to set to 800 kilohertz. That is going to give a more detailed picture of the 455. So the 455 is more broad, more powerful for searching vast areas. Once you want to key in on a spot and really get that detailed picture, we'll go to 800. So let me jump over here, I'll find some rocks, and I'll show you the difference between 455 and 800, how to switch between the two, especially on the hummingbirds, and let you guys check out the picture, and then I'll talk about the megahertz, the even more detailed mega imaging of these guys right here. Okay, so we're getting a little bit closer to the shoreline. I'm gonna kind of turn broadside. Again, this transducer is shooting out to the left and the right of the boat, so I want this to hit the shoreline. Once it hits the shoreline, it's gonna pick up some of the rocks, and I'll really show you how to key in and dial in your unit to get that real crystal clear picture. So as you can see over here, we got rock piles, 94 feet to 190 feet. We got a rock pile over here. I'm gonna go ahead and grab this. All right in here. So now watch what happens when I change my frequency. So we were on 455, now we're on 800. See how it isn't even showing up the rock pile right here? It's because it's not powerful enough to see that, but I know that it's there. So once I come in closer, I'm gonna get a lot clearer picture than the 455 gave me. I'm gonna turn down my zone to 100 feet. Turn down my sensitivity and show you guys what this does to your readout. Sensitivity down, sensitivity all the way up, blows it out. This is where you want to be able to dial in your unit, sensitivity and contrast, to really get that good picture. Out here we got some suspended fish. So 800 gives you a lot clearer picture of what is down there. So that is 800 and 455 kilohertz. Now let's talk about megahertz, mega imaging. 1,000 kilohertz equals 1 megahertz. So right now we are 1.05 to 1.175. So a lot more than that 800. That is where we're getting that real crystal clear readout. So back to when I would use which. Again, 455 search mode. If you guys have a unit that does not have the mega imaging, once you waypoint that rock pile or that tree or whatever that thing that you found looks different, you're really not going to know what it is if you're scanning 400 or 500 feet and you're looking on a 12 or 14 or 15 inch screen. You just know that it's different. So waypoint it, go over to it, switch to your 800 kilohertz, and that's going to give you a lot better picture of what it is. Now for those of you guys that have the birds, the hummingbirds, the mega imaging, that's where you're going to want to switch to your megahertz, your mega imaging. That is going to give you the clearest picture. You can really see when I play around with the sensitivity and the contrast, you get a lot different readouts. You could have something that is completely blown out, something that's so white and bright you can't even see the screen. But when you get it just right, when you adjust your sensitivity and your contrast, you can get a phenomenal readout. Look at that big old laydown right there. Now, if there was fish on this, I would see white lines suspended above it or in it. So right here, you can see where that hard bottom starts off the mud. Again, we're at 455. And we're just searching 175 feet out to the left and the right of the boat. You see this line right here of hard bottom? Big old boulder right there. You see how this shadow is like that long? That is a really tall boulder, giant boulder. You can see the shadow that it leaves. So hopefully that makes sense for you guys. The kilohertz versus megahertz, the more power, the more clarity, the more detail. Most units have that 455 and 800. You can switch between the two in settings. If you do have a Humminbird and you have the megahertz, the mega imaging available, definitely use it, because that's going to give you your clearest picture. You're going to be able to see things that you can't see with the other two frequencies. Again, 455, it's going to be your vast search. 800, dial it in. Mega, dial it in even more. Typically, you adjust your transducer. You know, this is a touch screen. This is a Solix 15. It's all touch screen, so I can do it right here. But units that aren't touch screen, go into your settings, and that's where you're gonna be able to adjust your transducer settings. And also, don't forget to really play around with your sensitivity and your contrast, because you could have the best transducer in the world, but if your settings are off, it's gonna have a horrible picture. So my advice to you is start out factory, right in the middle, 50-50, 50%. If it's got a sensitivity setting of 1 to 20, start out at 10 and make small adjustments. Go 11 or 12 or 9 or 8. Adjust it down or up until you get that real clear picture. Same thing with the contrast. Don't make large adjustments. Very small adjustments to really key in that picture to get you guys the best picture, so you guys can use that spot that you found, that spot on spot, to catch those fish. You know, if you can find a rock pile, and on that rock pile there is a little bit bigger boulder or a lay down right next to a break, that's where those fish are going to set. So if you can waypoint that and really dial in your graphs to show you where that is, you're going to have a lot better success on the water. I know these units can be overwhelming. A lot of guys just plug them in, turn them on, and don't really use them to their full potential. But if you understand your frequencies, this applies to down imaging too. If you understand your frequencies, you're going to be able to utilize your units a lot better and put more fish in the boat. If you guys have any questions, please leave those down below in the comments section. I know this techie stuff can get a little overwhelming. Wanted to show you guys a little more in-depth on settings on the side imaging to really help you guys out on the water. If you want to learn more, I like to put my rods away, idle around, and really learn the spots that I'm fishing. Once I feel like I got a really good picture of what's going on down there, then I can figure out how I want to approach it. The baits, the style, the techniques to really benefit that area. But again, side imaging, it is a phenomenal tool. You take that transducer, you shoot it out the sides of your boat, and you can see what's going on both sides of your boat and find those spots that you might have been missing. As always, guys, we appreciate you. If you learned something from this video, please give us a like, and remember to subscribe to our channel. We do 3 videos a week for you, strictly teaching to help you guys out on the water and catch more bass. We appreciate you guys. Have a good one.